A man in South Carolina was arrested Sunday for doing donuts in a church parking lot while driving his car naked.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I wasn't naked, okay? I was wearing driving gloves, all right?
See,
Not naked.
when I heard doing donuts in his church parking lot, I just thought he had glazed, maybe an old-fashioned, maybe a chocolate cake. Donuts in the church parking lot. Sunday morning, snuck out early on the way to some NFL games on TV. Sneak a donut.
Maple donuts. Do you like maple donuts? I like maple sugar donuts.
I'm all right with that.
I like that. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Ja Morant struggles. A goalie tries to pocket Alex Ovechkin's 900th goal, and Booger McFarland joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with Victor Wembanyama, who you, Wilbon, have been slurping all season.
Yes, I have.
Wembanyama went on the road last night to L.A. and came out with just 19 points on 5 of 14 shooting. He committed 5 turnovers and 6 fouls. The Spurs were basically beaten by Luka Doncic's 35 points in a game that went down to the wire. In Wembanyama's previous game, he had 9 points and 6 turnovers. So, Wilbon, how do you explain what's happened to your boy Wembanyama the last 2 games?
Here's how I explain it. Competition. This is what the teams in the league, the other 29, are supposed to try to do to Victor Wembanyama. To blitz him, to get him in foul trouble, to figure out things. Tony, the only thing, and by the way, I think this works so brilliantly in Wembanyama's favor and in San Antonio's favor with Castle and Harper and Sochan played for the first time last night, and the cast of characters they got, young players who are not going to win a championship this year, who are not going to play for one this year, but they're going to move in that direction, and Wembanyama's going to lead them there because he's going to get angry and emotional and be competitive and come with answers because he's smart and resourceful and tough and well-schooled and well-coached. This is great for San Antonio. I loved seeing this and watching it last night. By the way, some kudos to the Lakers, okay? Some kudos to everybody in the Laker organization. They got no LeBron. They've missed Luka a couple of games. They don't have Austin Reeves, and they're playing their butts off. So good for the Lakers. But this is great for Wembanyama. He's got to counter now. That's his job.
I don't think it's great for Wembanyama, but I'm going to leave Wembanyama out of this. You know, I can explain exactly how this happens with a phrase you've heard me say before, because the other coaches get paid and they watch film as well. And they try to figure out, how do we stop this guy? He'll be great in the long term. It takes practice and it takes time. And he's not Wilt. He's not the strongest guy in the league when he walked in like Wilt was. I'm going to go the other side. Something else you gleaned from that game, and that is that the most effective player in the league right now is Luka Doncic. The most effective player. Okay? But only if you care about getting 40 points a game. Luka Doncic, his first 5 games this year, he has 200 points. Mike, here is a list of all the other NBA players, past and present, who opened the season through 5 games and had 200 points. Wilt Chamberlain, that's it. That's the list. Wilt Chamberlain. Luka Doncic. The Lakers are winning without LeBron, as you said. They're winning without Reeves, as you said. They're winning because Luka Doncic is making them win. It's another reason why Nico Harrison should be fired for trading Luka. The Lakers are 7-2, I believe, and Dallas is 2-6. And Anthony Davis is hurt again. Who could have seen that coming? Huh?
By the way, some credit to J.J. Redick specifically. And you're wrong about Luka being that player. You're wrong. He's runner-up to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't care about the points alone. Shai actually plays the other end. Luka, we'll find out.
He's got a better team.
We'll see.
He's playing with a better team.
He is.
Luka's doing more with lesser team.
Playing with a better team. Let's move to the tension in Memphis, Tony. Ja Morant had a bad night on the floor again last night, shooting just 6 for 19. 6 turnovers in the Grizzlies' loss to Houston. During timeouts, Morant largely kept his distance from his coach, Thomas Izalo. And the Grizzlies suspended Morant for 1 game over the weekend for his conduct toward that coach. So, Tone, what needs to happen with Ja?
He's got to go. This shouldn't go another day or another week or another month. No. He's poisoned there now. He's not talking to this coach. So unless Memphis wants to fire this coach, they've got to do something with Ja Morant. he's not talking to the coach. He's not producing. If you go 6 of 19, you're not producing. He's been suspended, as you said, 1 game for not having any relationship with the coach. Previously, he had been suspended more than once for conduct unbecoming off the field, right? I mean, so there's history here. I don't see that there's any way out here except to deal him. And it's too bad for Memphis because you know what, Mike, and I know you agree with this. They're not going to get a guy as good as him to replace him.
No.
They're not going to attract a free agent in Memphis.
No.
If Memphis screws this up, they could actually have to relocate the franchise. And they are not dealing from a position of strength right now. Those are my immediate impressions.
I'm going to give you credit. You called me Friday and you said, your boy Ja has to go now. I give you full credit because you and I started talking about places where he could go and maybe salvage his career. Tony, he's got to go. And you and I mentioned some places where you have strong coaching, strong organization, strong locker room. And I again, did you mention the Celtics? Which in the time, in real time, I thought you were crazy, and now I don't think you're crazy.
No. I mean, it's up. Look, there's a couple of places it's up to them. It's up to the Celtics if they want him. It's up to Miami. If they're worried about him in South Beach, maybe they don't want him.
That.
I would not, if I were the Knicks, I wouldn't do it because Mike Brown just got there. He's a veteran coach, but he's not a veteran there.
Right.
I mean, to me, a place that makes sense is Milwaukee. With Giannis, with Doc Rivers, a veteran coach.
I like that.
Maybe the Clippers. I know how much you like Tyler.
Yes.
Maybe the Clippers. But the other part about John Morant is refresh my memory again about how many championships he's won. Because the answer is none.
He doesn't even play in 60 games. He's never played in 70. I love the Milwaukee and Clippers suggestions.
Do you like that?
You got to have an established coach and established stars, and you have to corral him. Tony is wasting away. You don't get forever. And then Ja, and for different reasons, Zion. These guys were supposed to be. We talk about
big
faces
talent.
of the league. They're big, huge talents. And it's not working. Different reasons. Zion is not that kind of problem. But Ja Morant, man.
Let's go to hockey and Alexander Ovechkin, who last night became the first NHL player ever to score 900 goals. He got 900 on a backhand against St. Louis in the second period. As Ovechkin's teammates rushed the ice to celebrate Ovi, the St. Louis goalie, Jordan Binnington, stuffed the puck into his pads, down his pants. A lineman had to skate over and ask Binnington for the puck. After the game, Binnington didn't speak to the press, though today Binnington said he, quote, had full intention to give it back, unquote. Wilbon, what do you make of this?
This has nothing to do with Ovi, what I make of it. It just, Binnington's behavior. We all went to high school with a guy like that. All of us. And, I just started thinking, oh, my God, I'm not going to name any names. Start thinking about Brian White, but that's another story. Of guys who were, pretty tough guys, but they were a little odd. And they, wanted a confrontation, it seems, every day or every other day. And they would do something to make somebody who was maybe a tough guy teacher, Father Busmeyer, come over and say, enough of that because I'll take you out. It just reminded me of high school. It's so funny to me, Tony. I went back like 50 years. And so that's all it reminds me of. What did Ovi do? Ovi got to 900. That's so cool.
Yeah, he got the goal.
And he's got to deal with this dope, being a high school, being Potsy Weber.
Yeah.
Come on.
This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, what exactly is Binnington thinking? Is he thinking, I'm going to steal this puck, I'm going to sell it on the black market, I'm going to steal this puck, I'm going to put it in a trophy case in my own house? What are you thinking? Are you impressed by the guys who took out the Louvre? Because I don't, by the way, buy this thing that he was going to give him the puck. I don't buy that at all.
Made that up,
if I'm Gary Bettman, last night I called Binnington and I go, what are you doing? There's cameras all around. We're not going to let you have this puck. What are you nuts? Let me get to Ovi briefly here. What Alexander Ovechkin, living in Washington, both of us have seen hundreds of his goals. We don't usually see a backhand goal. We know his spots on the left-hand side, 25 to 30 feet out. He hits it 800 miles an hour. It's like a Nolan Ryan fastball, boom, 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 and you get to 900. Look, this is Babe Ruth being passed by Henry Aaron, and nobody honestly believed that Henry Aaron was a better baseball player than Babe Ruth. And no one should believe that Alexander Ovechkin is a better hockey player than Wayne Gretzky, whose number he passed. But this is a singular achievement, Mike. I don't know that anybody's getting to 900 again.
It's a great,
I don't know.
Great
I think
milestone.
I'd bet the under.
Real quickly,
I think I'd
how
bet the
many
under.
backhands do you think he scored on in his career? I can't even picture any. I'm going to say there must be
less
100.
than 30.
No, there's got to be 100.
Week 10 of the NFL schedule kicks off tonight, which makes it a perfect time for a visit from our great friend, ESPN NFL and college football analyst, Mr. Booger McFarland. Today wearing a shirt from High Grove in Central Florida. Gil Hahn's course hasn't even opened yet. Wilbon, Booger's going to be there to cut the ribbon. Let's start with this. Let's start with this. So tonight, it's the Raiders at the Broncos. Booger, why do you think, or maybe you disagree with the premise, that Pete Carroll hasn't had more immediate success?
Yeah, Tony, I think it's a number of reasons. Number one, Geno Smith just hasn't been as good. You know, Pete kind of handpicked him. They traded for him. He's the quarterback. He's turning the football over at a very high rate. That's number one. Number two, they don't have many weapons offensively. They got a couple of good tight ends in Michael Mayer and Bowers. Those guys are really good tight ends, but they don't have the weapons on the outside. And then lastly, you know how it is. All us old guys up here on this panel, man, Pete's 74 years old. Pete kind of stuck in his ways. Pete grew up in that Seattle cover 3 defense, and I don't think the defense has evolved. So the defense hasn't been as successful, and I think Pete has to kind of innovate a little bit. And I think maybe there's a hesitancy to innovate and change. Pete wants to run the football. They went out and they drafted Ashton Jeanty. You got to morph into what's going on right now. It's no longer a ground and pound league. You got to turn into and throw the football around. And so I think they got to figure out what they want to do and how they want to play, and Pete's got to spearhead that.
Ooh, speaking about figure out what they got to do, let's go to the New York Jets. And Booger, if you're on the Jets defense and your team trades away the 2 best players on your defense, you brought a coach in, a defensive guy, defensive ace, and you trade them for future picks, you are thinking what?
Well, first of all, I'm wondering how come I didn't get traded, because I must not be good enough if they kept me. That's number one. Why the hell am I still here? Second of all, here's the thing that I would think about. Are you really telling us that we're trying to win now? When you trade the 2 best players on defense, the guys that's making the most money, I think we're all adults in the room. We all understand, A, you're not trying to win now. You're not trying to win anytime soon. And we're stockpiling picks for a quarterback. And so I would just ask the coach, let's be honest, guys. We're all professionals. We're all getting paid a lot of money here. I would hope that Aaron Glenn stands in front of the room and say, hey, the guys that are here, we're going to go out and we're going to try to win every game. But I think we all know that the Jets are looking for 26 and 27 drafts, trying to figure out who their quarterback is going to be. But I would be scratching my head. If we're going to make a fire sale, how come I can't get out? Quincy Williams, the linebacker, they traded his brother and then they benched him. How come you didn't trade me too? That's what I'd be asking.
A logical question, to say the least, but the Jets don't deal in logic. All right, one of the many reasons we love having you on is we can segue to college football. And the game I'm looking to more than any other this weekend is BYU at Texas Tech, numbers 7 and 8 in the country. BYU runs it, Texas Tech stops it. So how do you see this whole thing playing out in that game?
Yeah, well, if that's the case, I think it's going to come down to the quarterback. BYU has his quarterback, Bear Bachmeier. He wears number 47, one of the old school numbers, young quarterback. They're a physical team, you're right. They like to run the football, but I think this quarterback is going to have to grow up, and he's going to have to do it against one of the fiercest pass rushes out there, because Texas Tech went out, and they took some of that Wilbon money and some of that Kornheiser money, and they put it all together, and they bought maybe the best team they've had in a long, long time. They put a lot of money in the defensive line. And so this defensive line is built to get after the run game and get after the quarterback. So if you're BYU and you know you want to run the football, you're probably going to have to make sure that you block this defensive line at some point, and you're going to have to hit some big plays over the top. Texas Tech has been beat before, but I think you're going to have to hit some explosive plays in the passing game in order to do that.
We will get you out of here on this, and this is very close to home, this question. What sort of a chance do you give your alma mater, LSU, in now the first game after a bye at the end of Brian Kelly? All right, he's not there anymore. What sort of chance do you give them to knock off number 4 Alabama? What do you give them?
Yeah, well, first of all, good riddance that he's not there anymore. That's number one. Number two, I think the interim coach, Frank Wilson, is going to do a really good job of getting these guys ready to play. I think they're going to play for the 3 letters on the helmet, LSU. And I think if you're the Tigers, man, you got to go out and let it go. You got to play fast. You got to play physical. I'm always going to choose us, Tony. I know everybody, I think we're a 10-point underdog. That's fine. It's all good. Doesn't matter to me. I think my guys are going to show up, and they're going to play hard. If we can run the football and the quarterback remembers what color jerseys we're wearing, I think we're wearing white, then I think we're going to have a chance in the fourth quarter. And when you're a double-digit underdog on the road, to have a chance in the fourth quarter, that's all you can always ask. But always, Tony, what type of chance? I'm always choosing them 3 letters, baby. LSU, you know that.
Do I detect that you are not a Brian Kelly fan? Do I detect that?
Brian Kelly didn't work hard enough in Baton Rouge. I think right now all the stories are starting to come out. There's a thing called being a good fit. And I think as we look back on it, Brian Kelly wasn't a good fit. And I think for all the reasons that we talked about, him being from Boston, coming down to the South, like it just wasn't a good fit. I don't even know if he knew what gumbo was. Like if I got to explain to you what gumbo is, you probably don't need to be in the South.
Get out. You ain't allowed. Get out. Stay out.
Didn't you like when he said family? Didn't you like that? Let's take one last break, by the way.
He didn't like when he said family.
None of us did. Nobody did. The Padres hired a manager not named Albert Pujols. You surprised?
Maybe he wasn't a good fit. 2 pumps. Cost Rico Dowdle $15,000. Is it worth it? Booger, you're so right. And in the SEC, you gotta fit. You have to fit. Each one of those schools, you have to fit. Get out of here, bro. Brian, come on.
Tonight on SportsCenter at 6 Eastern. How Bo Nix and the Broncos can fend off the Raiders to strengthen their grasp on the AFC West. Plus,